Good morning, good morning, good morning, my friends. Happy Friday, October 11th at 9 a.m. Central. It's good to see everybody today, whether you're watching live or on the podcast or on the recording. My hot cup of coffee, bottoms up, cheers to you today. Everyone has always seemed to love Friday over the years, and I'm not gonna say I've never really gotten that, but I don't, these days, I don't understand it that much because I had a mindset shift a while back that there was no real difference between the 7 days of the week. I mean, the days of the week are the ways we have them because of industrial reasons, because of planning. I mean, they're good to have for organizational reasons. But when it comes to people that want to do big things, or entrepreneurs, or people that realize that time is a valuable thing that can just disappear at any time. Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 doesn't really mean much. And that's what I'm aiming for in my life. And that would be something I would maybe want to eventually be one of your goals, is to structure a life and a lifestyle that's not really conditional on the traditional, that worked out pretty well, on the Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 life. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I can wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning and be just as productive as 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday afternoon. So that's one of the things I've always discussed, was the construct I didn't like, which I'm always trying to break out of, is Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We've got business coming in these days that texts early in the morning, they text late at night, they text on the weekends. They are just working nonstop, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not, definitely not for that workaholic type lifestyle, but man, the world is moving at 24/7, and if you live in those 8 hours 5 days a week, you're really not going to accomplish a ton, or be any kind of high achiever, in my opinion. You can't move faster when you're moving at the same speed as everybody else. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So try to break out from those norms as soon as possible. What's on my mind today? I got several things here. I make up an agenda every day, and then I have several things at the top, kind of self-talk things. And one of them was, two of the things I always like to remind myself is before I start the show is, one, the fear never goes away, so do it afraid. So this is, I don't know where I, excuse me, I'm not sure where I picked this up, but I know most recently I've been adopting that SNL mantra, or that Lorne Michaels mantra, that the show doesn't go on the show doesn't go on when it's ready. The show goes on at 11:30, or whenever SNL comes on. So I've always liked that time and the things we want to do and the goals and the milestones in life are going to keep marching on towards us. And we don't get a chance to 100% prep for all of it. We really don't. The perfectionist is almost never 100% prepared. They're always looking over their content. They're always looking over their ideas and thinking, maybe I can do that differently. And that's how I feel when I walk out, when I'm going to do like a public speaking engagement. I'm at the last minute, I'm always kind of changing stuff. Even though I know the message I want to get out, a lot of times I'm just changing stuff at the last minute because I want to say something different on the slides. I want maybe a slide or something to prompt me to say something different. Or when it comes to software work or helping people sell and market better, I don't have 100% all the answers, but I'm not afraid of not having all the answers, and I know how I can find the answers. So the fear never goes away. Do it afraid. And as always, your self-talk is huge, 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 huge. Self-talk happens before anything. Just like health happens before anything, self-talk happens before anything. The way you look at yourself in the mirror, the way you talk to yourself, the way you talk to yourself when you're eating, when you're exercising, when you're working, when you're speaking on stage, all that self-talk really matters. So be very careful about what you say to yourself, okay? It will matter to yourself. And that's really weird. It's kind of like I'm speaking like we are two different people in the same body, but we kind of are. You have your subconscious and your conscious, and your subconscious is always speaking to you, and it'll make you do some crazy shit if you're not careful. Okay, so please, please be very careful with your self-talk. Today, the topic I wanted to briefly touch on, and this is one where I'm not going to go too deep on you, so we won't be here for hours and hours, is AI. And specifically my take on what is good AI versus what is bad AI. Okay. I'm gonna have to admit, obviously, if you know anything about me, I'm a huge techie guy, a huge nerd, huge geek, whatever you want to call us out here. And nerds and geeks, for the most part, are early adopters on cool technology. The things we early adopt on don't always stick around, but whenever there's any kind of new, recording technology, music technology, video technology, CPU technology, your geeks and your nerds are the first ones to literally geek out over it and get obsessed over it and tell everyone they need it, and then it will eventually flow out into the mainstream. So that's to say that I get pretty geeked out when like new Apple hardware comes out or a new iOS comes out or anything kind of new tech comes out. Except for I wasn't too terribly excited when I've probably in the past, most of the past 5 or 10 years, when I've seen the topic of AI mentioned or the topic of AI discussed. And the reason I wasn't too terribly impressed is because um, I don't believe AI is artificial, nor do I believe it's intelligent. Okay. So the whole phrase to me is an oxymoron, not really an oxymoron, but it's just kind of a joke phrase because it's not artificial, it's not fabricating things on its own, and it's not intelligent. It's smart. And for anyone that's been, anywhere out in the real world, there's a difference between it being intelligent, knowing that 1 + 1 = 2, that's intelligence, and there's between being smart, where if somebody has a gun to your head and they say 1 + 1 = 3, you know what? You're going to say 1 + 1 = 3. Okay, that's just a smart thing to do if you want to obviously stay alive. So, I've just never really believed that AI was A nor I. But recently, I have to admit, probably in the last 6 months or so, I've come to really see the places where it's beneficial and the places where it's used, and even the fact that I didn't realize that some of the things I already do would be considered in the AI realm. There are people who think I'm a big AI fan because some of the tools I use, but I didn't really think of those tools as AI tools. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about how maybe we can do some good things with AI and the things we don't want to do with AI. Okay, so I had them in good, bad order, but let's go from bad to good so we can end on a high note. Okay, um, so when I was looking here at the things that I don't want AI involved in, okay, decision making kind of things. Okay, if there's any critical part of any machinery or any kind of data on the internet or any kind of software that's making critical that has a lot of critical business data, I don't necessarily think I want AI making critical business decisions. Okay. AI can do really good things like see that weather's coming in a certain area and change the logistics or suggest an idea. That's what I think AI is. I think AI is good at probably suggesting decisions. I just don't want my AI making them. So, AI is obviously in our life every single day. But, when I fly commercial, for example, I really want AI. I really want AI kind of out of the picture when it involves the taking off and landing of airplanes. Now, I know software and tech, and there's software and hardware already involved in that, and that to me is questionable as to whether or not that's even AI, because we've had automatic takeoffs, automatic landings. We've had those for a while. But I always like the fact that there's a pilot involved and a pilot can override that immediately because there are just some things, particularly when we're operating vehicles that are completely unpredictable that you have to act on. And so, the idea of any AI making a decision in an airplane, I am not a fan of. Okay, should I land? Should I go around? Should I bank left? Should I bank right? I guess I'm okay with that to a point. I just don't want it making any crucial decisions at the critical phases of flight. I believe is what they're called, critical phases of flight. Okay. I'm not a fan of any kind of AI model, or wouldn't be a fan, I guess I should say, that suppresses information. So, for example, if I was to use an AI to make like a political decision or a religious decision, it would be dangerous, in my opinion, for that AI to be heavily biased in one way or another. And now, can you train it? Yes. These AI models are really smart and you can train them on different sets of information. So you can train them, let's say in politics, okay? You could probably feed an AI a ton of Republican information or a ton of Democratic information and have it chew on the stuff and spit out stuff. However, in my opinion, if you only feed it one side, then you're only going to get one-sided answers. It's no different than the echo chambers that we've talked about before, where if you're going to, if you want to know something about politics or the variety of politics or other people's political opinions, you don't sit down and discuss these things with a bunch of people that agree with you all the time. So these AI models need to be fed. If you're going to feed it information about yourself or about your business or about a strong, maybe medical opinion, political opinion, something like that, I would say make sure you feed it contradictory information and other information for it to churn on to decide whether or not something's a really good idea. I've noticed a lot of times when I use AI to get opinions on something, all the models I've worked with for the most part seem to be pretty good at spitting out like a closing paragraph or a second paragraph saying, but there is this other viewpoint that should be researched kind of thing. Okay. So we have to be very careful about any kind of AI that suppresses or holds information that's fed. It should be kind of spat out as a complementary position or something else to consider, or just more information for the human decision maker to get involved and make a decision. So I'm not a big fan of any AI that withholds or suppresses information. And that by default, I guess that leads into my second one. I'm not a big fan of any AI that has a strong opinion on a course of action. Okay. Now we're using AI these days to help us make decisions. I have no problem with that. You can feed an AI, thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of information, and the more you feed it, usually the algorithms come back and they help you. They suggest a course of action. Okay. However, again, all the AI models that I've seen, um, they are pretty good about suggesting a course of action, but they don't have a strong opinion on it. So the day the AI models come back and say stuff like, "Oh, this is the absolutely recommended course of action. Any other course of action is the difference between life and death kind of thing." If an AI model ever came back and said something like that, I would consider that highly sus. Okay, and I would consider that a very scary thing that I need to research the opposite of it. Okay. So I'm very okay with AI models suggesting a course of action. But once something has a very strong course of action, that's something that would be kind of dangerous. Okay. So I came up with those things as basically we probably should not be using AI, or we should not be, probably start being aware when things go crazy, because let's not forget that in the movies when things go bad, it's because AI has decided that humans are a bad part of the equation on Earth, that if we want the Earth to last as long as possible, we've got to get rid of humans because they're very inefficient, which we are. So and now that I think about it, those three things I just mentioned, decision making AI that withholds or suppresses information, or AI that has a strong opinion or course of action. Those are the three things that probably kicked off the Terminator and or the Matrix movies. Okay, since I work in marketing, the good side of AI, a lot of these are going to be marketing or sales related. Okay, so I wrote down some good points, some good things in AI, and yes, mainly I have to say, I'll tell you, I'm seeing a lot in business, a lot in early business decision kind of things. Okay, so I talked about the bad uses for AI or the things that would really concern me if they were getting involved in AI. Let's talk about the good things for a little bit. Okay, and again, this is coming from a marketing perspective. So one of the first aspects and one of the areas that we're seeing AI used a lot is generative AI. Generative AI. I think I got that right. So basically, AI that comes up with content, and this is really big because in my area of marketing, content is huge. People writing blog posts, people generating videos, people generating short form and long form content, people generating podcasts. These are huge topics because those of us in marketing feel that we have to constantly feed the content beast. And the content beast are the search engines and social media. Okay. So one of the areas that AI has been really helpful is being able to help us generate other content from existing content we have. And this is what I'm speaking about. So I am not a professional writer, okay, not by any stretch of the imagination. I'm halfway decent on video, halfway decent on audio, but not a professional writer. So if I have to sit down and write a paragraph of text for a blog post, or a paragraph of text for a book, or a forward for a book, I have some challenges with that stuff. I really do. Even as much as I've been speaking over the years, you'd think Patrick would have the public speaking thing down on lock. No, there are times where I have trouble, writing out my thoughts before they actually come out of my mouth. I know it's a good idea. I just don't necessarily always have the patience for it. Maybe that's what it is. It's a patient and discipline muscle. However, I really love the fact that the tools I use these days, when it comes to generating content, can assist me with generative AI, meaning that these tools can look at things I've done in the past and decide or give me suggestions on the kind of things I should say in the future. And this is really beautiful when it comes to stuff like scanning a website. Let's say you have a website you've built up over the past 10 years and you've been blogging daily for who knows how long on all of your topics and your opinions, and you get some business from it, but not a ton. What's cool about these AI engines these days is you can feed these AI engines all of that blog content. Whether you have 1 year or 10 years of blog content, you can feed that into an AI engine and it can basically become like a second brain. As a matter of fact, I use a tool called ClickUp, and ClickUp has a function in there called ClickUp Brain, which is basically it's basically supposed to mirror your brain after you feed it in all the content. And I was actually on the internet the other day, and um, who is it? One of my Facebook friends um, was researching a tool that he could use that would basically suck in his brain from all of his content over the years, his books, his videos, his podcasts, his whatever, um, and basically become his second brain. And I can't think of the tool that he I'm trying to look real quick and see if I can figure out the tool that he settled on or that was suggested to him. But a lot of the AI tools out there these days are like that. If you have a Chat GPT account, it will remember stuff from your past. You can feed it lots of documents. I was playing with the Notebook LLM. That's Google's version of basically that's their new note taking platform where you feed it all of your content, your videos, I believe your video links, all of your written content, your spoken content, and it is basically becomes a place to dump all this information, and you can then query that for content ideas. The platform that we recommend, the Playmakers platform for businesses to house all of their data and help them find leads. That there's AI all over the place in there when you're building emails, when you're building social media content, but all this stuff has to be trained, and that's going to be a big part of the AI world is training these things to think like we think. But when it comes to generating content from our brain, as long as we fed it all the correct information from our brain, then I am a huge fan of using AI for generative content. What's also cool about this stuff is I don't know if you want to call it cheating, but there are times where you can even feed in like information from your competitors and it will spit out even better opinions and better content. So I'm a big fan of generative AI. Again, because I'm in marketing, something else I love about AI is early lead disqualification. Okay, that's something that we're really getting involved in more and more now. Is using AI to help us in the top of funnel marketing. Okay, and just as a quick reminder, all marketing in the world is funnel shaped. Okay, you have top of funnel that eventually comes down, 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 down to the point, and the point of a funnel is the where your best paying customers are. Okay, the top of your funnel, the very very top of your funnel is, you can almost say, if you want to go really huge, you can say it's the world, right? Every person in the world is on the top of your funnel, and you narrow it down to more and more, and eventually get down to the point where you're contacting people, right? And so AI in that early top of funnel is pretty cool and helps you disqualify people. And what I mean by that is There are things programmatically where AI can have conversations now and disqualify people, or AI can research more information about people and help disqualify people. Okay. We in the high level CRM world, or the Playmaker CRM world, we have different tools for this, but it's really cool to see how some of this is working because it works at scale. And that's the beautiful part about AI that we're really pushing now. I mean, I have to admit, I'm drinking this Kool-Aid. I'm bathing in this Kool-Aid like Irene Cara from Fame. If for those of you that get the reference right there, I'm really bathing in the prospect, no pun intended, of AI doing early lead disqualification for me. Okay. Something not in my notes that I realized that I was kind of cool about AI is that AI is also really good at very basic low end tasks like setting appointments. I did a demo on this very show a while back, and I've done plenty of demos on this of how the AI that we push out now can basically help set appointments based on the availability in your calendar. If you were to text into our number, which you see on the screen every now and then, 405 217 4752, and you give indications that you want to have an appointment with me, the AI kind of takes over and will look at my calendar and say, hey, Bob, I see you want to talk to Patrick. He's available next Tuesday at these times. Which time do you want? So not only is AI good at early lead disqualification, it's good at getting those early leads calendar slots too. Okay, and again, it happens all inside of our tool. It looks at the business rules we have set up. For example, I don't do any calendar appointments on Thursdays and Fridays. It looks at my Google Calendar, see my time slots that are available. It looks at the buffering rules that I fed it, basically saying, I need a half an hour before every meeting and a half an hour every meeting to recap and decompress. And then, so if you're on my website chatting and you want to make an appointment, it takes all those things into consideration. And then what's cool about that is that thing's running 24/7, and I just end up with appointments on my calendar. I mean, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Appointments on my calendar, and then it sends them a kind of a lead qualification form also. But so early lead disqualification, I'm a big fan of, and appointment setting. And you could probably, to a point, say that something like a missed call follow up or a missed call text back would be AI also, but not really. It's just basic trigger stuff. And that's something else that I have to find, a little bit humorous is that stuff I consider basic technical functionality out of my CRM these days, people are calling AI. I've heard people call, for those of you that are in the high level world, we have a function called missed call text back, which is really handy for people that, live and die by the phone calls they get. When someone misses a phone call, we can follow up with them automatically and help you make an appointment with them. People are calling stuff like that AI, and I'm like, is that really AI or is that just some intelligent programming? So I always chuckle at that. I've been writing software for years, and a lot of this basic, software stuff, people are calling AI. They're like, that's magic. I'm like, that's just basic technology functionality. Get the heck out of here. And then so outside of early lead disqualification and generative AI and the appointment setting, I also like AI for early research on things. Okay. And this would be the case of where I'm writing a book or I'm writing several chapters of a book. I don't want to use AI to write a book 100%. Okay. And I've seen people do this. I've seen somebody write a book using AI, and the book was how to use AI to write a book, is what it was. So I can't remember if it was a he or she, but they were selling a book on how to use AI to write a book, and they wrote that book themselves using AI, which to me, that's the biggest shovel of crap, I will ever see. So I will never, use AI to write a full book. I will use it for suggestions. Okay, so I think AI is good for early research on written content or early suggestions on written content. I don't want it to do all the work by any stretch of the imagination. So if you kind of look at my good AI list here, early research, appointment setting, early lead disqualification, generative content, you'll see that I'm really okay if AI has a very high level role in the world of marketing, in the world of content generation, or a very early role. Okay, I definitely think that things that require more in-depth thinking, I don't want AI chewing on yet. Okay? We'll see if in my lifetime, if AI gets to the point where I 100% trust it. I do like the fact that it thinks faster than I do, and it comes up with better ideas than I do, and especially in the world of like headline generation. Um, here's one of the cool things I think about AI is the fact that in 2024, a lot of people in the world work in silos. Okay, we've got a lot of small business, a lot of solopreneurs, a lot of even corporate businesses that are just telling people, "Hey, you can work from home." Okay, we are losing a lot of our collaboration ability as a result. Okay, meaning that me working from home here without anybody, I can't, throw an idea over a cubicle wall and say, hey, Jenny, what do you think about this headline idea? And she goes, oh, just take out this one word or insert this one word. It'll be amazing. Okay, we don't have that engagement or that in office interaction anymore. So it's hard for me sitting here solo sometimes to come up with some other ideas or think outside of my own head or outside of my own box. And that these days, my friends, is what I'm using AI for. Okay. I'm using AI to get ideas that I would normally get from other people. And then I am also passing it through real humans. Okay. I don't ever want to be the guy who sits here wiping Cheeto dust on his shirt 24 hours a day in his mom's basement, just talking to a computer and a computer talks back to me with what to do. I don't ever want to do that. I want to use an AI as an assistant, if you will, to help me give me ideas, but not to actually do the work. So if you're just kind of coming in towards the end here, I was talking about the bad and the good uses for AI. In my opinion, the bad uses for AI would be any kind of AI that makes any drastic decisions, okay, for me. Any kind of AI that withholds or suppresses information, I would not be a fan of. And any AI that has a strong opinion on a course of action is something that would really bother me also. Meanwhile, the good parts of AI, in my opinion, are generative content, generative text, generative blog posts, or ideas for said things. Early lead disqualification. Okay, what's cool about bots and AI and things like that in chat windows is those things are going 24/7 and they can help you filter out the bad leads and pull in the good leads. So that's kind of cool. And then, of course, appointment setting, which we're rolling out a lot these days. Using AI on a website to help set appointments is pretty cool. And, early research, top of funnel kind of disqualification things. So early research for things like books or other content or things like that. I know that's different than the actual generative AI for social media I was talking about. Early research is early research for things where you may have an opinion on them or you want to extract some information about them, but you are going to be the one that writes the final copy, that writes the final content. So that's my take on AI. Okay, I love some of the uses I'm seeing for it. The one that scared me recently, if you follow me on social media, you see that I talked about this for a little bit, is I used Google Notebook LLM recently, and I have fed it several different pieces of content. I have fed it meeting recordings. I have fed it blog posts. I have fed it all kinds of things. It's pretty cool. And yes, it can summarize and spit out bullet points like everything else. But if you haven't seen it yet, go feed some content to Google's LLM. And there's a button there where you can generate like a discussion, a verbal discussion based on the topics in your content. And it basically comes out like a good two-person bantering podcast of a woman and a man talking about whatever your topic is. That one, I've used it several times, and that one just kind of leaves my jaw hanging open every single time. The fact that, number one, the voices are very natural, and they emote, and they have, emotional variation, but they pull in. So not only do they pull in and summarize your content, the Google LLM AI podcast generator, but it's actually able to deduct feelings a little bit and what you're thinking about um, when it comes to the content that you feed it. And that was I've used that a few times recently. And every time my jaw is just hanging open. We should do a demo of that sometime. Every time my jaw is just hanging open with how good Google's gotten. And out of all the companies that are doing stuff with AI and LLM, large language models, Google's the one that I'd be paying really close attention to because they have everything. Okay. They know what people are searching for and they have all the content and on a regular basis. And so, out of any of the companies, because I just upgraded my Apple stuff. I just went to the Apple, I think iPhone 16, the one that has the AI, supposedly the AI features coming in it. So I love my Apple hardware, but when it comes to companies that are going to be doing very cool things with AI, Google is one. Google is just this massive beast that keeps rolling forward that is going to be hard to stop. Okay, Google's not going to go anywhere, or the Alphabet company, whatever you want to call it. They're not going anywhere. So they suck in all the content from every website. So we're already using them as a search engine. They suck in a ton of video content via YouTube. Okay, and now they have a large language model. So think about that. Google has every single thing everyone is searching for. Thousands, if not millions, of searches every single day. So they know what we want. Okay, and then Google also has the other side, the stuff that we want. So Google knows the people and what they want, and Google also has all of the content that they are searching for. Okay, and that to me, when you get AI involved, is just going to be massive, and I'm going to try to take advantage of it as much as possible. Yeah, Chat GPT is good. Not Alfred. Claude is good. I play with some of these other AI models, but the AI model that has the most information, in my opinion, um, and the backing company that has the most money to do something with that is going to be the one that really succeeds. So you've got the Apples out there doing stuff with AI. You've got the OpenAI project. You've got the Chat GPT models 3, 4, and I'm not sure if we're up to a Chat GPT 5. But all of these models, they're still pulling in all the stuff that Google already has access to. So if you're feeding Chat GPT a cool blog post because you want to teach Chat GPT something, guess what? Google had that blog post years ago. Okay, Google knew about it already. So Google is going to be one that I'm going to be paying more attention to when it comes to large language models. Because as much as I want to feed the Google AI, Google actually already had access to that stuff. Okay, and any other kind of search engine company that sucks in content from the internet, those are going to be the ones that are going to have the most information. And like I said, they also know what we're looking for. And that's why I like Google also as an ad platform, because it knows what we're searching for. It knows what we're watching. It knows what we're interested in. And that, combined with the fact that it actually has all of our content, to me is very, very powerful. So if you haven't done so yet, fire up Google's LLM Notebook. It's free. Almost all these AI tools are free from the get go, and play with them. I play with them all the time. I've got a friend of mine, Beth, who plays with them all the time. Right here on my own computer. Let's see, what do I have installed? I've got ClickUp installed, which is my secondary AI brain. I've got Spark Desktop, which has some AI features. I've got ChatGPT for AI stuff. And I thought I had one more AI app on here um, that was specific to, no, because Google doesn't have a local app yet. Um, so I've got so I've got a plenty of tools over here that are already using AI. So that's so I'm going in on that a little bit. Anyways, that's what I have to talk about today. As always, thank you very much for watching. If it was useful, share the show if you would, please share the show. And as always, please make sure you subscribe on YouTube. We are cranking it up. We're actually almost at 2,000 followers. So on YouTube, which, that's one step closer to 2 million followers, right? Anyways, my friends, have a great, great day, and we will probably see you on Monday morning's show. You take care.